Joining me now, Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, and Janae Nelson, President and Director Counsel of the Legal Defense Fund. Thank you both very much for coming to the Sunday show. We've done a lot of talking about this being the last full day of President Biden's tenure as President of the United States, but it is also the last full day of Vice President Harris's tenure as the #2 in command. Janae, just your reaction to this day for the Vice President.
Well, you know, this day is one that we've had several weeks to anticipate. I think if you had asked us this several weeks ago, you would have heard from people who were really crestfallen. We know that 91% of Black women voted in favor of Kamala Harris. We know that 78% of Black men voted in favor of her, you know, averaging about 84 to 85% of Black people voting for her. So, you know, this is the president-elect is not the president of Black people, not the one that we wanted, but we have been here before. We were there through the first Trump presidency. And now what we have is a really stark contrast between what this country can be, what its promise and potential is, and what we're going to experience for the next 4 years. And it is interesting. And
keep going, Janae. Keep going.
It is a little ironic that the inauguration is happening on Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. But I actually think it is really emblematic of the crossroads at which our country is. And I think it is giving us a very clear choice about the future that is in front of us and that we will need to work for.
And Mark, I mean, the last time the inauguration hit on the day of the King holiday was President Barack Obama's first inauguration back in January 20th, 2009. My, how things have changed. I would love to get your reaction specifically. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Tomorrow's a contradiction of values and vision. On one hand, we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, a great American who gave us a vision and gave us a pathway forward, whose work with the Civil Rights Act of '64 and the Voting Rights Act of '65 and the Fair Housing Act bent the arc towards a more inclusive, diverse, and yes, a more prosperous America. On the other hand, we have the 47th President of the United States, who represents the most significant contradiction to what Martin Luther King stood for and worked for of any president in modern history, and I would say any president in perhaps 100 years. So it represents a contradiction. But for us, we are going to double down on our steadfast, passionate support for Martin Luther King's vision, for the vision of an inclusive, diverse, equitable America, a vision where everyone has access to the American dream. And we will oppose passionately any policy efforts that are designed to reverse that progress. Do we have a fight ahead of us? Yes, we do. Are we prepared for that fight? Yes, we are.
Janae, as head of LDF, I mean, your docket has always been full. I'm just wondering, at the dawn of a second Trump administration, and full because of what you've been doing in the States, how will that docket get more intense now that there will be a Republican president who will be doing things that LDF will have no choice but to get involved in to try to push back?
Yeah, we've seen this coming, right? Not only have we survived and beat back overreach in the first Trump administration, we've had 4 years to see what's possible and to use government as best we can to advance our agenda of racial justice. And we have a playbook that they put on blast, Project 2025, that we've analyzed and have already prepared a response to, and that we've already distilled and explained in a report that we've done to talk about its impact on Black communities in particular. So we do not run from a fight. We are quite prepared for what is going to come. And we're prepared with every possible tool in our arsenal. LDF is a premier litigation organization and has been for the past 85 years. We also have an extraordinary policy arm. We have research, we have organizers, and we're ready to deploy every possible mechanism to push back. And I have to say, another key dimension of this is narrative shaping. What we see is a battle and war on truth. We see rampant dismiss and malinformation coming out of the Trump administration. And so it is up to all of us, including media, to be very clear about the truth of what is before us and to make sure that we do not obey in advance, that we don't capitulate, and that we are very clear about what the promise of our multiracial democracy is and what we want for the future of this country and our children and every generation to come. Because we've got to win and earn our freedom in each generation.
And Mark, before we go to a break and continue the conversation on the other side, the National Urban League every year puts out its report, The State of Black America. Now that we're at the dawn of a second Trump administration, what is the state of Black America?
The state of Black America is that there's a state of emergency with attacks on democracy, attacks on economic opportunity, attacks on economic policies that would benefit all. I want to certainly alert everyone to the fact that Janae and I will be at the National Press Club on Wednesday, the 22nd, at 11 o'clock for an event where we're going to begin this effort to define what economic opportunity looks like. We're going to take on the attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we've got a roundtable event there that'll be streamed live that includes as many as 15 to 20 leaders, a cross-section from every racial group, a cross-section of people who are going to be passionately working towards an agenda that aligns with what Martin Luther King stood for and certainly aligns with the values that all of us in civil rights and social justice believe in. And I think Janae is absolutely right. We all have tools. We all have a number of tools. What we're not going to do is telegraph every move we're going to make. But Wednesday will be the beginning, I think, of a concerted effort by a number of us. And we have to build a movement that is strong, that is diverse, and that is focused on economic opportunity in an America that belongs to everyone. The MAGA movement is a movement of division. The 47th president of the United States has thrown down a gauntlet repeatedly to divide people. We believe that the majority of the American people want an inclusive nation, a diverse nation, and a nation for all.